Forgive me, thank you. A very old woman told me this tale. She saw it with her own eyes. And this is a true story. A ghost is like air, you know? She goes everywhere. What is a ghost? How does she live?
Don't feel my face. Don't record my voice. But you can repeat it. You can mimic it. Like a shadow follows an image. This you can do, and you won't destroy the order of things. Do not write what I say, because they will steal my story.
How many types of ghosts are there? How does she become a ghost? And that is what I will tell you about. The names of my ancestors are written on my body, spitting in between my legs, and that tells you that I am a genuine Edison phonograph.
Oi camera, camera caparia. Cana sema ando preco, tinde mladeie que pleco. Oi camera, camera caparia. Cana sema poa shari, tinde mladeie que shali.
I can sing you tender songs of love. I can enable you to always hear the voices of your loved ones, even though they can be very far away. I can talk in every language. I can help you to learn other languages too. Mama, some of them said, Mama, some of them said, Mama, some of them said, let's kill him. Some of them said, what has this Damara said? Mama, some of them said, 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 let's beat him to death. Mama, some of them said, what has this Damara said? Mama. Some of them said, let us kill him. Mama. 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 Some of them said, what has this Gamara said? Mama. Let's beat him to death. Mama!
The women start to fall in a thirsty delirium. The lips of my warriors shatter, and fevers veil their eyes. They are thrown out of their husbands' tents. The phonograph says there is no tone for women.
I only exist because you have spoken. You have been looking for me. I have been looking at you all my life.
Sometimes in the kingdoms of our fathers, it so often happens that we are taken away from our nature, from debris and broken dreams and battlefields. We must build mountains for men and children to orientate and to repair. We must build new stories of our fathers and our mothers. What if the lion had her historian? Would the hunter still be the hero?
How do we finish the story if it never started? It's time to bury all the Karl Peters, gone with the wilderness of the Kilimanjaro. I buried him in 1896 with tropical fevers.
The sun is burning my skin, yet I'm full of shadows. This tent is filled with death bodies, monster bodies. There is a bird to see a view from above. There's a huge gorilla living in my house, hot at night. He's a prince. He may strangle young girls to death and make them sleep without waking up.
My father is a king.
Vile. It is so vile.
My
that
father
you think
is a
that
magician.
This is worth all of these lives just to get a realistic image of something.
My father is a prince. My father died of a heart attack.
My father is an empire.
Destroyed his passport to return to.
My father is jazz warrior.
Okay. Well, how you
My father. I'm going to say for the right to return to Chao and Temple Hall.
I'll say that again. I'll read that again. Let me say that again. Okay. Okay.
Do you see over the distant horizon?
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I want to say this one again, and then I want you to explain this one, because this is where I was like, did this really happen? Okay. Tutelary moments. Oh, oops. Monuments. Okay. This is a great sentence. Hold on. I'll say that last one.
It's unbelievable that men were shot on camera. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But then believable, and this is what makes it so sad. You know, that you want it to be unbelievable, But actually, you know, I have to believe it because of everything that I learn and continue to learn.
Going and awake.
Look at the garden on my belly.
Look at the garden on my belly.
Did it not grow? Look at the garden on my feet.
Did it not grow?
Did it not
Look at
grow?
the garden on my breast.
Look at the garden on my breast. Did it
Look
not
at the
grow?
garden in between my legs. Did it not grow?
Look at the garden in between my legs.
That may
Did it
be a
not
fine
grow?
dress for a princess.
That may be a fine dress for a princess.
We wear the mask. 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 We wear the mask.
Gottes Hilfe.
We wear the mask.
23.
We wear the mask.
I couldn't hear
I'm
anything.
here to deliver you plaintiffs and sermons
But I couldn't breathe.
women not included in your stories,
My ears were
not
blocked.
included in your
The ears were
artworks.
wounded.
Plaintiffs bring this action on behalf of all the Iheo and Nama peoples for damages resulting from the murder of Mwakwange, from the horrific genocide and unlawful taking of property in violation of international law by the German colonial authorities during the 1885 to 1909. His remains were seized by orders of General Raafzoon and given to his daughter Unica in Brandenburg. The plaintiffs also brings to action, among other things, enjoin the restraint of Federal Republic of Germany from continuing to exclude plaintiffs and other unlawful representatives of the Iheo and Nama people from participation in discussions and negotiations regarding the subject matter of this complaint in violation of plaintiffs' rights under international law, including the UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People to self-determination for all indigenous peoples and their rights to participate and speak for themselves regarding all matters relating to the losses that they have suffered. I herewith return your request. The service specified in further detail above. Your request for the lawsuit for service of a complaint to the Federal Republic of Germany cannot be accepted. The proceedings assert damage claims associated with the conduct of the German Reich in dealing with the plaintiff's tribes from the Federal Republic of Germany as the legal successor of the German Reich. Since the claims are derived from sovereign action by agencies of the Federal Republic of Germany or its legal predecessors, there is no civil or commercial matter as defined by Article 1 on the service abroad of justicial and extrajudicial documents. Furthermore, compliance with a request for service may be refused in accordance with Article 13 of the treaty. Foreign courts are generally not authorized to decide about the legality of sovereign action by representatives of the public administration of the Federal Republic of Germany, since the conduct of the German Reich described
Right about that. To
in the
honor
complaint
this woman
is
who helps us
attributable
to survive.
to exercise of sovereign government action. I therefore reject your request for service dated April 21st, 1915 and April 2017. Overall, the court's judgment has weakened Namibia's position in its negotiations with the German government over a political declaration in which Germany apologizes and promises redress for the atrocities committed during colonial rule. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It shades our cheeks and hides our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile with torn and bleeding hearts. We smile and mouth the myriad subtleties. Why should the world think otherwise? In counting 1, 2, 3, all our tears and sighs. Nay, let them only see us. We wear the mask. We smile. But oh my God.
I almost choke when I think about myself. Yes, ma'am.
Our tears to thee from tortured souls arise, and we sing, oh, baby, my sweet honey girl, I've got a new baby, that's her. And now we sing, the clay is vile between our feet, and long the mile, but let the world think otherwise, huh? We wear the mask. When I think about myself, I almost laugh myself to death. My life has been one great fucking joke. A dance that's walked, a song that spoke. I laugh so hard. I almost choke. When I think about myself.
Through your destruction, I stand up and we sing. Hey, baby,
And 70 years in these folks' worlds. I mean, 150 years in these white folks' world, and 721 years in these white folks' world, and 317 years in these white folks' world, and 42 years in this white folks' world, and 11 years in this white folks' world, and 293 years in this white folks' world. The child I works for still calls me girl. And I say, yes, darling, for working sake, you know, because I'm too proud to bend and too poor to break. So I laugh. Until my stomach ache. When I think about myself, my folks can make me split my side, so I laugh hard. To tell the sound, just like lying, they grow the fruit but eat the real. Oh! Until I start to cry when I think about myself and my folks and the children and the fathers and the mothers sit and benches their flesh, count every plank, the slat sleep dance, dance of darkness deep in their withered flank, and they nod like broken candles all waxed and burned profound, and they say, but sugar, it was our submission that made your world go round. There, in those pleated faces, I see the auction block, the chains of slavery scuffling. My mother speaking voices, my father speaking voices, my mother speaking tongues that shred my fact and sound. They say, oh, but sugar, it was our submission that made your world go round.
That's that survival apparatus.
They laugh to conceal their
But
cry.
sugar, it was our submission that made your world go round.
And they shuffle through their dreams. They stepped and fetched the country and rolled the blues in screams. I understand their meaning. And it did derive from the living on the edge of death. They kept my race alive. They kept my name alive by wearing the mask. Oh my God.
Don't feel my face, because I will still record my stories.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? What about now? What about now? Can you hear me now?
It is still happening. It never ends. The birds told us everything. Daddy, who won the war? It is still happening. It never ends. Because it disorientates us. And we are scared of Camisona. They shout her name all over the jungle. Who? Camisona. Camisona.
Jackal in the mouth of the jackal. He ate my breakfast.
In the forest, tell her never to return.
It's not finished here. When the jungle sings, I lay down. Baby. Because an untold story, cannot be told yet. It must be told, but only through its untelling. Sometimes I wonder what to say to you now. Now in the soft afternoon air, as you hold us in a single death, I say, where is your fire? I say, where is your fire? You got to fight it and pass it on. You got to find it and pass it on. From you to me, from me to her, from him to his son, from the father to the brother, from the brother to the sister, from the daughter to the mother, from the mother to the child. I say, where is your fire? I say, where is your fire? Can't you smell it? Coming out of our past, the fire of living, not dying, the fire of loving, not killing, the fire of blackness, not gangster shadows. Where is our beautiful fire that gave light to the world? The fire pyramids, the fire that burned through the holes of slave ships and made us breathe. The father that made guts into chiplins. The father took rhythms and their jazz. The fire sit-ins and marches that made us jump boundaries and barriers. The fathers and mothers that took street talk and sounds and made righteous impulse take raps. Where is your fire? The torch of life, full of Zinga and Nat Turner and Garvey and Du Bois and Fannie Lou Hamer and Martin and Malcolm and Mandela. Hey, sister, 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 hey, 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 brother, 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 come, 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 catch your fire, don't kill, hold your fire, don't kill,
live,
learn your fire, don't kill, be the fire, don't kill, catch the fire, and burn with eyes that see our souls walking, yes, singing, huh? Yes, building, yeah, and laughing, and learning, yes, loving, yes, teaching, and being, hey, 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 sister, 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 hey, hey, young brother, 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 hey, hey, sister, sister, here is my pen. You can catch the fire. You can catch and live, and live, 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 Where is your fire? Where is your fire? You got to find it and pass it on. You got to find it and pass it on. Where is your fire? Catch your fire. Don't kill. Hold your fire. Don't kill. Learn your fire. Don't kill. Be the fire. Don't kill. Hold your fire. Don't kill. Learn your fire. Don't kill. Live. Young, 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 young sister. Young, 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 young brother. Hold my hand and hold your fire. Learn your fire. And live. And live. And live. And live. Catch your fire. The fire of living, not dying. The fire of loving, not killing. You got to fight it and pass it on as you hold us in one single breath. As you hold us in one single death. Catch your fire, souls walking, yes, and building and laughing and learning and loving and teaching and being.
Sister, sister, brother, 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 come, 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 catch your fire, don't kill, hold your fire, don't kill, learn your fire, don't kill, be the fire, don't kill, catch the fire.
moans and screams on the road for miles and miles. Sometimes they would take the skulls of babies as trophies or cut off the genitalia of women and thinking it would give them great powers. Did you hear the story of this black man, Hendrik Campbell, a chief of war of Hermata tribe, who was ordered to fight against the heroes in 1904? We killed and won against the heroes in Kachuga. We found women in very ill conditions. Some of them were blinded. So we gave them water, food, and shelter
for 5 years
in a protected hut. The German soldiers came to burn the women alive in the hut, saying it doesn't matter. They would have transmitted diseases upon us. Did you hear about the voice and the story of Samuel Carrico, the director of a hero school and son of a chief, Daniel Carrico?
Or what's the tone of that one?
In the beginnings of Von Trotta, Lindequist circulated a message that all peoples hiding in the mountains and desert calm and surrender in exchange of a pardon for massacres that German troops had committed. People came to surrender, already skins and bones, captured by the German force into labor. I was captured and sent to Luderitz on the island of Shark Island, where thousands of me and Eheros and Namas prisoners, unclothed, the few who could still stand up were sent to forced labor. Women, children, and babies were German and chosen by the German soldiers into rape camps. Do you remember Eugene Fischer, the scientist here? You remember the girl you digged out of the grave after the worms had cleaned her skull and did not die of illness? She died of a blow to the head after refusing the attack of one of your soldiers. He said to her, "I will kill you if you move and scream." So she moved and she said, "Thank you," and the bullet launched into her head. She was daughter of a hero chief, a princess. You named her Unica. Do you remember Eugene Fischer, who was experimenting on fertility controls and signed an accord book here in this academy that would legalize the extermination of black people? And before you made the procedure on her, she had a baby boy, after she was being raped by those soldiers. He was spared, this boy, with his fair white skin smuggled into white bribery, haunted by the memory of his mother. He will go on to have white children until the circle would restore. Do you remember? Do you remember her? She was returned to Berlin Charité in 2011, but she was never buried in the garden of the great-grandchildren, but locked into a German laboratory in Namibia, preserved for science, translated as heritage, dignity, restitution, repatriation, never to be buried in the soil. The replica was buried to silence the plea of those working on justice. Do you know that her pieces of her skulls, broken, could sell on eBay for $1,400 apiece? Do you remember the story of Hendrik Fraser at Keetmanshoop? In 1905, I led Caribbean, and he was sent to Waterberg with the troops of Hauptmann Kühne. Von Trotta was with us, you know? The Germans set fire to the women and the children and watched until the bodies were reduced to ashes. On the road back to Amakari, an old hero woman was digging the earth for onions. Von Trotta came to her and said, "I will kill you." She said, "Thank you." Did you hear of Leslie Cruikshank Bartlett? He said in 1905, the heroes and Amos women on Shark Island attempted to escape the prison by jumping into the sea that would spit them back into the shore, where their bodies lied. Often their breasts were eaten by white jackal dogs, and the Germans were so proud and treated the dogs as loyal companions. Wait, boy, don't call me a rebel. Do not call me a rebel. When I need objects to decolonize me, will I need photographs to legitimize your pardon? Let's talk about the 1.3 billion. Will I need photographs to prove my death? Will I need objects to be heard? Will I need objects to return? You know, sisters, brothers, this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment. It would have been a little hard to imagine that 22 long months ago, that tonight thousands and thousands would be here celebrating a magnificent people's victory. The victory we're celebrating is not my victory, and we are simply celebrating the fact that I am a free descendant to walk the streets and walk the struggles with you, because sisters and brothers, whilst we are celebrating in our ability to force the unmistakable defeat of power, the unmistakable defeat upon the rulers and liars of this country, that we are celebrating because we know that the rulers that we are talking lean on racism and political terror as their crutches of domination in academia, in culture, in government, in banks, voting against the abolition of legalized murder. But we also have to be a little cautious because, the appended to the decision, the qualification, the legislatures can now invoke the death penalty in special instances. We, the women, are, the special instances, and don't really know what those special instances be all about. And don't we know who will be the target, the special targets of that repression? But even as we are cautious, and even as we do not deceive ourselves with hope of the illusions of care, the delusions of order, the illusions of war, law and justice, which they constantly force upon us, we also have to recognize the abolition of death penalty was not a victory won in the courts. It was the people's victory because it was not... because it had not been all the struggles, waged of all the struggles, and we had waged the streets, and now our sisters and brothers waged behind prison walls. Those 5 judges would have not voted the way they did, so we are talking about a people's victory. We are talking about love. We are talking about the erotic. Sisters and brothers, I'm not going to be secretive tonight about what I mean when I talk about the characters who govern this country and who wish to govern what is in between my legs, who wish to govern what is inside my uterus, and who wish to govern the dark melanin of my skins. When I talk about the characters who govern this country, sending their police force of insane missions in the name of care, of justice and solidarity through oppressions and repressions in the ghettos and the barrios, and when we talk about the characters of who govern this country, sending their armies to Syria with computerized deaths for against Muslim and indigenous and African populations. When we talk about all of the multi-billionaire corporations who are really behind the scenes of the 1.3 billion repatriation, robbing the people and pulling the strings of governments, and in our home countries, the monarchies of the Commonwealths of Europe, the United States of Europe. Sisters and brothers, this is the end of Europe. We have to realize that we are contending with a whole ruling class of whole craft of profit-hungry, powering-hungry rulers, and this is a ruling class which I think we are going to ultimately overturn, and that is if we are really serious about the desires to be free, our desires to be queer, our desires to be lesbians. We are going to have to talk about organizing ourselves into a movement which is massive enough to dethrone this entire ruling class, because that's the only way we are able to purge this country and the world of all the diseases of racism, the war, the camps, and the poverty. That's the only way we are going to talk about eliminating these things from the face of the earth. My sisters and brothers, when we talk about alternative to this system, I think we're going to have to start talking about our masks. We're going to start to talk about what is in between our legs and our blood. We are seldom to believe that the rulers are saying we shall not be deceived, that for their deceitful methods of domination, because we have always had to fight and the struggle and to die to live, to die to be born, and to die for our desire to be free. We know the words of the old spiritual freedom. Freedom is always constant struggle, but now, not only us. And if we are here, they fear us. And our ability to organizing communities, and they fabricate criminal charges in order to entangle us in their court systems, and so that they can arrest us away from our people if they draft us into the military. And they are awaiting charges in Stompede. If we are brothers and sisters of Urijalo, black and white, who decide to rise up in protest against the wretched conditions of our imprisonment, and if we decide that we are going to fight for the right to educate ourselves politically on social sexual revolution, then we know he, with the explicit approval of him, can urge a military attack on us which rivals the assaults on our sisters and brothers. So unleash all of our strength and to build in that movement. But of course, the ruling circles refuse to recognize that our freedom was won in the streets, in our beds, in our children, in the streets of this country and the streets all over the world, I suppose. You know, you have read some of these editorials which appeared in practically all over the newspapers across the country. Editorials which were desperately chastising me for not thanking the judicial system for giving me a fair trial. And he warned me that I will end up dead. But that's what he is all about. And we know we are going to have to deal with him, with his destruction, and all of the other rulers of this country, sisters and brothers. Don't forget, they not only wanted me to thank them for a fair trial, but I suppose they also wanted me to thank them for the 60 months I spent in prison, for the 2 stillborn childbirths, for silencing my sexual abuses, for falsifying translations on care and solidarity, for minstrelizing my black body, for years of theft of my free labor, for feminism's unadorned menstruations, for my 8 lawyers, for the refusal of converting into racist religion, for not calling me by my name, for enforcing plantocracy on my ancestors. And I suppose they all wanted me to thank them for all the centuries of prison sentences that people are still accumulating. So, sisters, you know they are wrong. They are wrong. Sisters and brothers, the committee now in this master's house want to seek all political prisoners as moving full speed ahead because they are going to talk about us breaking some more chains as they broke the chains which bound me in order to get my freedom. So finally, my sisters and brothers, let us tell them in a thunderous united residing force that we have no intentions on stopping this fight until we have eradicated every single remnant of racism and plantocracy in this country, until we have ended the cult of solidarity as holidarity, until we have finished with colonialism between the camera and my canvas.